Oh, I gotta turn my radio off. All right, what's going on? You know, this little "Don't Be Racist" um, series that I started wasn't really intended to be a series, and now it's become a series. So I want this to be the last time I talk about cultural racism. This weekend we had Governor Northam in Virginia came out on Friday that he dressed up in blackface. Um, both are racist. You know, blackface. I encourage anyone who is unsure as to exactly why blackface is so offensive. It's actually more offensive than the Klan hood. The Klan hood is a reminder of violence. That's like someone going to a synagogue dressed up as Hitler. It's not necessarily directly racist in the Klan hood case, or anti-Semitic in the Hitler case, but it's a reminder. That's actual. I mean, it's a form of terrorism, I'd say, because of the number of people that were killed at the hands of, or at with the encouragement of, the Ku Klux Klan. Um, there aren't many people. There aren't many black people in this country who don't have some direct connection with, the Klan or Klan activity. If your family goes back four generations at the very minimum, you sometimes less depending on where you live, but 4 generations. My great grandfather moved to Chicago with my grandfather, and that's why I have family in Chicago. From Georgia, because he was run out of town by the Klan over suspicion of raping a white woman. You'll find that theme is the precipice for a lot of terrorism by the Klan. But it is racist, right? We all know it's racist. I think lately, in the last year or so, this whole blackface thing has finally gotten the attention of those who don't care, don't see, even behind closed doors, are racist and don't realize that they're actually being racist, which I talked about before. You could be racist and not realize you're being racist. A lot of times you might do it behind closed doors, and your intentions still may be pure, but racism is still racism. Culturally, if you're racist, you're racist. And when someone points it out to you, it is what it is. But why did I title this blackface? Because I really don't want to talk about Northam. I want to talk about something else. I kind of want to talk about as a black person, as a black American, the conversation that I have had with other black Americans is, what exactly does one have to do to have their actions or their person be outside of our community? So I will say that Donald Trump has done a lot of racist stuff. Point blank, period, the end. I mean, there's receipts for his. He says racist stuff. I'm willing to bet he's a little racist. Whether or not he wants to admit it is irrelevant to me. It is what it is. And we, when I say the collective we, I find that we, and again, my sample size is only the size of my world, excuse me. But we always can't seem to figure out, we all went to the same schools. Now, you may not have had the same parents. You may not have the same household or had the same experience, but damn, you know, people died over this racism stuff. So it is real, right? You know it's real. Well, what constitutes that belief? Like, what is the barometer? What's the litmus test? What's the alarm? I have to say that black people generally are not running around looking to call somebody racist. I know that's a theme on the right. It's something she may not have said it, but Candace Owens likes to kind of allude to black people playing the oppression Olympics. Basically, what she's trying to say is that black people are always looking to blame their problems on white people and this, that, and the third. Look, culturally, I really honestly don't want to be bothered anymore. Like, I don't want to be bothered with racism. I don't want to make these videos. I started doing it just kind of document. This is supposed to be a motovlog channel, not a talk about racism channel. But it's like one of those things, I don't really hear anybody saying some of these things. So I figure, I'm here, I'm going to say it. Honestly, 2 people have watched some videos. That's all that matters to me. Somebody heard it, and hopefully that sparked them to go look. Right? I'm not, it's just, it's more cathartic for me than anything. But, so what's the alarm, right? Let's start with the alarm. So when someone says someone did something anti-Semitic, if a Jewish person says you did something anti-Semitic, everyone will believe immediately. It never fails to blow my mind how something very subtle questions the Jewish person about something anti-Semitic. What's even funnier to me is that even with Islamophobia, if something is anti-Islam, once it's called out, everyone believes it. It's only racism. And the reason is that no one believes us when we sound the alarm is because it's not that we say, and here's the funny thing, we don't sound the alarm that much. Maybe in the moment, but you don't see, lately with video, people have been getting shamed, but if you watch the videos, no one's saying, you're a racist. Nobody's saying that. You're just being so mean, the video will speak for itself. But even when we sound the alarm, even when we show you, hey, this is racist, there are some misguided black people out there that will say stuff it's not racist when it most certainly is. On a culturally, I'm not talking systemic, because that's something where you need to understand how the policy works and what your barometer is. It's a separate conversation. But culturally, when someone points something out to you that is racist, that should at least spark some level of curiosity in the receiver of said alarm. But I find it doesn't, and it really bothers me. Like, that's how you end up with frat parties that do blackface a lot. Like, we're sitting here talking about blackface, about Governor Northam, as if it's some shock. When at white colleges and white-only groups in colleges, that shit is normal. That's the norm. Y'all do blackface to us all the goddamn time. Y'all do it at parties. You do it, especially at parties. It never fails. There's always some frat party somewhere that has somebody dressed up in blackface, and motherfuckers think it's funny. Y'all think it's fucking hilarious. That's the shit. The pimps and hoes parties. That's racist. It is. And you can say that it's satire. You can say it's just racist. It just point blank period. It is. When someone is telling you and pointing it out to you that something is racist in a country that is literally, its pure foundations are on racism. And when I say racism, I just don't mean against black people. And this is the thing that even white people, it blows my mind. Like, no Italian should have voted for Donald Trump. If you're not okay with racism and you have an Italian American family, you should have voted for Donald Trump, because you weren't considered white when you got here. Whiteness was not for you. Irish people, whiteness was not for you. You weren't white enough. Now, over time, you got accepted in because another group came in to take your outsider status. That's one thing that we, meaning African Americans, the black people in this country, can never join that club. So we're always on the outside, and you treat it that way. But back to the alarm. If someone sounds the alarm of racism, your ears should be at this point. If you truly care about whether or not someone thinks you're racist, because it's really, I find that people only care about whether or not people think they're racist when they're being called racist. They just don't want to be called racist because, you know, that hurts their feelings. They're fragile. You know, their fragile feelings get hurt, and because they don't want to be associated with it because it looks bad, right? We associate racism with uneducated whites, and not educated whites. So, you know, it's like calling somebody poor white trash on steroids. No white person wants to be associated with the hillbilly in a trailer park. And what's funny to me is that even the hillbilly in the trailer park is probably less racist than you.